Hey everybody, welcome back. This video is for the violin students in the 330 class, and this is our music theory video for the week. So we have worked on many types of flashcards in this class, but we have not yet launched into the blue flashcards. So we're going to start working on those today. So the blue flashcards introduce us to something called intervals. Now in music, an interval is the distance between two notes. And the reason that intervals are important in music is because they help you to recognize patterns when you're reading music. So we've been working really hard on our note reading flashcards. We know how to look at an individual note and know what it is and even how to play it. But when we look at a whole piece of music with lots of notes in a row, we can't take the time to stop and figure out every individual note. But we can look for patterns that help us recognize how far away notes are from each other and how to play them more easily. So intervals help us do that. So first, let's just take this first card and talk through it as an example, okay? So we have two notes here right in a row, and we might not know this one as well, but we can figure it out. This is on a ledger line below the staff. So let's find the nearest note that we know. We know the bottom line is E, right? And this note right below E is D. So it just keeps going down in order. Ledger lines extend the staff. So right below D is going to be the note C. All right, so this note is C, this one is D. And they are right next to each other. So this makes it really easy to figure out their interval. To count an interval, you start on the first note and count until you get to the next note. So 1, 2. This is a second. The distance between them is a second. And that just means they're right next to each other. So if you see a whole passage of notes that are right in order, playing stepwise or going up and down a scale, the distance between all those notes is a second. They're right next to each other. All right? So that's a little bit about how we count the intervals. Let's do another one and we'll talk through it again. All right, so the two notes we're working with, we have C. They're all going to be based on C. So we'll get very familiar with the note C. C to E. All right, so we want to figure out the distance between these notes. We start on C, we count 1. The next space would be D, so that's 2. And 3, we get to the note. So the interval is a third. We count right in between them, starting and ending on the notes, and that number is the interval. Okay, 1, 2, 3, it's a third. All right, oh, and another thing to recognize is that thirds go from line to line or from space to space. If our two notes were D and F, we would count D is 1, E is 2, F is 3, so that's also a third. Okay, we can do that with any notes. Let's say we start on G. A third away from G, we would count G as 1, A is 2, B is 3, so that would also be a third. All right, so intervals can be between any note at all. We just have to count the lines and spaces between them. Okay? And if you're like, what, Miss Hillary, this is so confusing, I don't get it. Hang in there, stick with me. I think once we start to practice a little bit more, yeah, it'll become more clear, okay? Let's work on this one. Okay, so we start on C, the other note is F, so we count. C is 1, 2, 3, 4. We counted to 4 to get between the notes, so this is a fourth. Fourth is the interval. All right, let's look at our two notes. We have C and G, and we count the spaces and lines between them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember to always start with the first note as 1 and end on the last note. So that's the number we're looking for. This is a fifth. We counted to 5. So this is a fifth. All right, Our notes that we're working with are C and A. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a sixth. All right, the gap is getting wider. You can see how we can start to recognize those patterns, right? If you're playing a piece of music and the notes are really far apart from each other, you know it's going to be a wider interval. It's going to be farther away. And these are the kind of patterns that help you quickly learn to read music. All right, this is a really big leap between C and B. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a seventh. Very wide gap between them. And last of all, we have C and C. And I bet you guys can figure this out, but let's count it anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But instead of calling this an eighth, we call it an octave. An octave is the space between two notes that have the same name, C and C, and they're an octave apart. Make sense? All right, let's see if we can go through these again. I'm going to mix them up a little bit this time. So your task is to tell me the names of the two notes and the interval between them. All right, let's begin. Okay, our two notes are C and G, and hopefully you can count the lines and spaces. This is a fifth. All right, and a little tidbit about fifths. Our open strings are tuned in fifths. So that means that the space between all the strings is a space of 5 notes in between, all right? So let's say our open D is right here, right? And we know our open A is here, the second space. So if we count, D is 1, E is 2, F is 3, G is 4, A is 5. Same goes for the distance between open A and open E. It's 5. So our open strings are fifths. Fun fact. All right, next. Okay, our notes are C and F, and this is a fourth. All right, our notes are C and C, and this is an octave. Not an eighth, but an octave. And actually, in Italian, ottava, where we get the word octave, it means eighth. So it's really the same thing. It just derives from Italian. All right, an octave. All right, our notes are C and E, and this is a third. C, D, E. Third. Okay, our notes are C and B, and this is as far as you can get without it being an octave. It's a seventh. Really far stretch. Okay, our two notes are C and A, and this is a sixth. And you can tell at a glance the difference between a sixth and a seventh. You could sit there and count each note, but you can easily see because a seventh goes from a line to a line, and a sixth goes from a line to a space. So you can tell that they're different. Plus, the seventh looks a little bit farther apart than the sixth. You can tell at a glance. We're trying to build up these patterns so we can recognize them by sight, and it helps us read music a lot easier. All right. And the easiest one to recognize, this is C to D, a second. Okay, my friends, really nice work. I'm gonna mix them up again. We're gonna go through one more time a little bit faster. This is like our speed round for the day. So if you need to stop and back up the video and do it again, please do. And then come to this part of the video when you're feeling super confident and ready to go quick. All right, let's begin. Ready, set, go. C to A, the 6th. C to G, this is a 5th. C to E, a 3rd. This one is C to C, octave. C to D, 2nd, right next to each other. Oops. This one is C to B, it's a 7th. And this one is C to F, it's a 4th. Okay, my friends, great work. Thank you for sticking with me. Again, if you're still feeling confused or like, I really don't know what this is about, we're gonna talk about it a little bit more in some different ways, so hopefully you will all feel comfortable with it and know what's going on, and I think it'll really help be an extra strategy that can help you read music. So great work, my friends. I will see you next time.